Literature Paper 2, a chance to finish one of the first big exams that everyone does done, okay? So this paper is really important. Now, your paper 1 grade, however you felt you did in paper 1, you've got to take that and do as best as you can on paper 2. Whether you failed paper 1, you can make a comeback on paper 2. If you got a 9 or an 8 in paper 1, it's all about paper 2, okay? This is incredibly important. Now is a chance to actually finish a subject, and you want to end on the strongest finish, the final push that you absolutely can, okay? If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and leave a like. My name is Henry Brown, and I do videos aimed at helping you just do as best as you can throughout GCSEs. So my impression from most people from English literature was that it went pretty well. It didn't go like incredible. I don't think it was a ridiculously easy paper, but I think most people thought that it went well. So we want literature paper 2 to go really well, okay? For everyone, I want your literature paper 2 to be a really big paper. Now, depending on your exam board, paper 2 is either harder or easier, okay? The exam board I teach is Educast, and for me, that's actually an easier paper 2, but you all know based on your exam board, okay? This video is for all exam boards, but you all know whether paper 1 or paper 2 is harder, okay? And adapt based on that. First thing I want to do is just talk a little bit about predictions. As I'm sure all of you guys kind of realized, predictions should not be relied on, okay? This is what I think of predictions. Don't rely on them, but prepare for them, okay? So anything that's predicted, I'd make sure I know 100% because it is more likely to come up, okay? So I make sure I'm a grade 9 level for anything that's predicted, and you should focus on those predictions. However, as we've seen, don't rely on any predictions. They can throw a curveball. Don't make that an excuse to not cover content, okay? Your best bet is covering a lot of the content, trying to get through content fast, than just relying completely on a prediction, because it could and did for some people backfire. So paper 2 is your chance to kind of fix that, okay? I also want to talk a little bit about motivation. This is a time to just keep going, okay? Really push for this paper 2. We've got an exam done. Don't let your paper 1 demotivate you or motivate you. It has to motivate you, basically, okay? Now, next point is structure. Okay, I want you guys to make sure you are incredibly clear on how to structure each question. Structure is often one of the quickest and easiest things you can do to improve your marks without actually knowing or learning more content. So paper 2 is slightly different structure, okay? With English, there can be small differences between the paper 1 and paper 2 questions, or large differences. So you need to ruthlessly understand and know what is exposed to me in paper 2. If you don't know what's in the paper 2 or you can't remember it now, okay, you need to go and look at paper 2. Like, if I say to you now, I should be able to say, what is in paper 2 and how do you answer every single type of question? And you can tell me, right, first question, we've got a 30 mark and then we've got a 25 mark and you do this and this, okay? If you don't know that, that's what I'd recommend making sure you absolutely know. You need to know the structure really well for different questions, okay? Next point is content. Just don't get confused with paper 1, okay? It can be a little bit difficult. So now's your chance to really focus and zone in on those paper 2 texts. You may have 1 and you may have 2, but paper 2, make sure you're recapping, you're going over the content for the different texts that you need to study and is in your head, okay? Quick, easy things to do is watch clear summaries of your content. Remind yourself, get yourself back in that zone because you would have been focusing so much on paper 1 that it's really important we make sure we're very competent for the paper 2 text as well. Quotes. As I said in paper 1, don't neglect these. Don't think you can't still learn these. You can still learn quotes, okay? ChatGPT is incredibly useful for that. Ask it for the top 10 quotes that you need to know, or the grade 9 quotes from your text that you do, okay? Jekyll and Hyde, for example, or something. So still learn quotes. If you really, really are stuck and you don't know anything, you should know quotes. Quotes should back up your evidence, and the grade 9 students are going to be choosing really impressive quotes as well. Often, though, basic is fine, okay? There are some quotes that are very basic that everyone knows that are really useful, okay? So Edward Hyde described as a damn juggernaut or something like that, okay? Abe like Fury. There are often key quotes, and don't be afraid if you're aiming for 9 of using those quotes and using them well. So make sure you guys are really, really confident on your quotes, okay? That goes without saying, but I did feel like it was necessary to say and remind you guys, okay? Put it as your phone background if you need, but don't think you can't learn the quotes, okay? As in paper 1, examiners' reports. You need to know what high mark answers look like across English and across most of your essay subjects, okay? This is really useful revision, is just reading high mark answers. Yeah, find some high mark answers. Your teacher should have them. You can find them online, have a look at examiners' reports and think, what are they doing? What can I improve on from paper 1? Just because you've got a 5 in paper 1, that doesn't mean you can't get a much better grade in paper 2, okay? Final point then, and this is a really, really important point. This is what I would do. I would get a huge list of all the potential practice questions, okay? So there's only a set amount of questions they can ask you realistically, the themes or the characters, or maybe characters combined or something like that, okay? So what I'd do is this. I would get a big list of all of the potential practice questions, okay? So all of the themes, For example, Jekyll and Hyde, secrecy, all of that sort of stuff. Although I know some people, Jekyll and Hyde was tested in paper 1. But whatever your texts are, write down on a whiteboard or something all of the themes, all of the characters, and then maybe a combination of some characters or something. Then what you need to do is go through every single one of these and think, right, how would I answer this? How would I answer this? What quotes would I use for these? Okay, this is such a useful thing to do because A, you can speedily cover all of it. B, this will help you see your weaknesses. Okay, say we get to a character and you think, right, I don't know anything about this character. Okay, Sheila Burling or something. I don't know who this is. I don't know how to revise this. That's where you focus your revision. Your revision needs to be very exam based. And trust me, if you just keep going through this and you do this with all of your text, you will have covered almost certainly the question that's going to come up. Okay. And for each one, you can go through, you can ask ChatGPT to write a grade 9 overall statement. You could think, what quotes do I need? And also, the more you check, the more you see that, the better you're going to get because you learn versatile quotes that apply for different things, okay? So that's really useful. You'll find quotes that I can use. Oh, I can use it on this essay, this theme, this character. Those are the versatile quotes. They're the best quotes to learn. Right, ignore the change of background and stuff, but I wanted to make sure I talk about poetry as well, and I realized after I filmed, I haven't talked about poetry. So here is my top poetry advice. Now, you don't need to be as scared of poetry as you may be, okay? Poetry really isn't as hard as it seems. I know it's a bit strange because it's a little bit unfamiliar and, it's all rhymes and all of that sort of stuff, but it really doesn't have to be as hard as it seems, and this is why, okay? Here is what you need to do with poetry. You need to learn to spot and look out for stuff that always comes up, that you can always talk about. Okay, so for example, always look out for a shift in mood. Okay, how does the mood and the tone of the poem change? You'll be able to notice if it's all nice and flowery or whatever at the beginning, and then at the end it's more aggressive. Look out for a change in mood. Okay, look at the structure. This always comes up. Every poem is structured, and almost always that structure links to the message of the poem. Okay, is there a consistent rhyming scheme? Are the stanzas structured neatly, or does it look disorganized? If you look at it and it looks disorganized, you can comment on that and say that the poem's disorganization reflects this, yeah? Everyone can talk about that. Whatever poem you have, look at how it's structured, okay, and you'll be able to comment. If it's ordered, that usually means it's organized, it's in control. If it's disorganized, it's not. So you can always comment on that. Imagery as well. Okay, what imagery? What's the poet describing? Have we got a nice, vivid imagery? Have we got a kind of more somber and like sad imagery, that type of thing? Look out for that type of thing. Contrast. Is there any contrast? Is there any juxtaposition within the poem? Are there words put together that are contrasted? You can spot that. Okay, so those things are you're almost always going to be able to comment on them in some way. So by learning things that you can always comment on, that takes away a lot of the fear, because no matter the poem, you will be able to talk about how it's organized. You'll be able to spot changes of mood. You'll be able to spot any contrast. You'll be able to spot whether it rhymes or not, that type of thing, okay? So learn that and have a look at some poems, okay? Look at poems, print them out now, Google them, and see what you can spot, see what you can comment on that, and look at lots of past papers. And that's going to make it a whole lot easiar. Again, especially if you're aiming for the higher grades, learn some standout analytical words for poetry, okay? So semantic field, learn about the description and the imagery and that type of thing, as I said again. And yeah, have a look in the description as well below. I'm going to put some more in there, okay? Because I can't actually pronounce them, to be honest. Caesura is one. Learn some fancy grade 9 analytical poetry words, okay? And then final thing as well, instead of saying the writer uses this, say something like the writer employs a semantic field of. Just saying the word employs makes you sound more fancy, makes you sound more academic. And that's a really easy thing you can do. So poetry's not that bad. You've actually got this. You don't need to be scared of it. Okay, so look at some past poems, maybe practice, and again, look at high mark answers and use this for advice as well. But I hope that video was helpful. Please leave any comments in the description, any comments in the comment section, any questions you have as well. And I really hope the exam goes well, okay? Leave a like. I'm really confident and we're going to get literature done and it's going to go well. So good luck, guys. Be prepared for the worst as well. Try and revise those really difficult questions that you would hate to come up. Yeah, it's the questions that you wouldn't like to come up that need your most focus, so you don't go in there and get a really difficult question. Okay, it shouldn't throw you off. That's why you shouldn't overrely on predictions. Thanks for watching that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck, and let me know how it goes.